welcome to the program, Nigeria Non-Oil Sector. Nigeria is working towards creating a better enabling business environment. The effort is to simplify national and international transactions by streamlining processes and procedures for export trade. The Nigerian Export Promotion Council, NEPC, which is working with other agencies of government, along with the United Nations Center for Trade Facilitation and Electronic Business, UNCEFAT, have been sensitizing various stakeholders through workshop and more.
Your participation here today is a clear demonstration of the shared vision and collective resolution of MDAs to cooperate with the organized private sector to achieve success for Nigeria. The UNCEFAT goal is simple, transparent, and effective process for global commerce.
Nigeria recently moved from 169 to 149 out of 190 countries surveyed by the World Bank globally on ease of time spent on doing business. At a recent workshop in Abuja, the Executive Director, Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, NEPC, Chief Segun Awolowo, commended participants for their shared vision and collective resolutions to cooperate with the organized private sector to achieve success for Nigeria. He said that the program has come at such a critical time when Nigeria has been redefining the nation's economy by accelerating its diversification agenda. Let's hear from him.
To this end, the UNCEFAT focuses on simplifying national and international transactions by harmonizing processes, procedures, and information flows, rendering them more efficient and streamlined, with the ultimate goal of contributing to the growth of global commerce. Our program today has come at a critical time when we are redefining our nation's economy by accelerating our diversification agenda under the administration of President Buhari. As the head of the Nigeria's delegation to the UNCEFAT, I've had the opportunity to coordinate and promote UNCEFAT interests and activities in Nigeria. I'm pleased to inform you that in 2014, Nigeria won its election and became Vice Chair of the UNCEFAT Bureau in charge of International Trade Procedures Program Development Area, that's called the ITP/PDA, which is one of the 6 program development areas within the UNCEFAT. The ITP/PDA is made up of 2 domains and 2 focal points. They are International Trade Procedures Domain, that's the ITPD, the Single Window Domain, the SWD, WTO Trade Facilitation Agreement Focal Point, and then a Trade Facilitation Implementation Guide, the TFIG. It is under the umbrella of these 4 ITP/PDA subsects that the NEPC has initiated work on several UNCEFAT recommendations. One of the completed recommendations launched and finalized by the ITP/PDA includes the revision recommendation number 4 on national trade facilitation bodies and its guidelines. This recommendation encompasses all trade facilitation issues, including regulatory, operational, custom, transit, logistics, banking and finance, agriculture, sanitary and phytosanitary, health, electronic business issues. Key success factors for establishing the NTFB include, but are not limited to, favorable government policies for economic development and trade, a robust and dynamic private sector, the availability of human and financial resources, and strong political will to improve the performance of international trade transactions, all of which are present in this day in Nigeria. Just 2 weeks ago, Nigeria became the 107th member of the World Trade Organization, WTO, to ratify the Trade Facilitation Agreement, TFA, in Davos. Ratification of the TFA shows Nigeria's dedication to the UNCEFAT recommend number 4 and is a reflection of the country's commitment to creating an enabling business environment for businesses. By ratifying the TFA, Nigeria has moved closer to overcoming our cumbersome trade processes and streamlining our trade procedures. The TFA contains provisions for expediting the movement, release, and clearance of goods. It also sets out measures for effective cooperation between the customs and other appropriate authorities on trade facilitation and customs compliance. According to a 2015 WTO study, full implementation of the TFA can reduce member trade costs by an average 14.3%, with developing countries having the most to gain. Recommendation 33, establishing a single window, and 36, single window interoperability, SW1, are two more essential UN CFACT recommendations which the NEPC has been proud to participate. Recommend 33 details how a single window facility can allow parties involved in trade and transport to record standardized information and documents with a single point entry to fulfill all import, export, and transit related regulatory recommendations.
Dignitaries at the workshop in Abuja included the chair, UN CFAT, Dr. Lance Thompson, the trade advisor of the minister and chief negotiator to the Ministry of Investments and Trade, Ambassador Chinedu Osakwe, and the Undersecretary, Economic and Consular/Legal Relations of the Ministry, Ambassador Mrs. Regina Enswa. Agencies represented are the NCC, FAN, NIPC, the Federal Produce Inspection Service, Ministry of Transportation, CBN, SON, NEXA, Shippers Council, and the Custom and Excise, the Consumers Board, NPA, the Lagos Chamber of Commerce, and other chambers. The National Sensitization Workshop centered on the role and activities of the United Nations-centered trade facilitation and electronics business, UN CFAT.
I can ask, what is trade facilitation? This would be the definition from UN CFACT. Trade facilitation is about the simplification, the standardization, and the harmonization of procedures of information crossing borders. UNCTAD, which is another branch within the UN, also adds transparency as a fourth branch of trade facilitation and what trade facilitation is. So simplification is eliminating redundant processes. Perhaps there are multiple agencies that are requesting the same information. So the simplification aspect would be trying to eliminate those redundancies. Harmonization is making sure that everybody is aligning their procedures so that a trader, when he's importing something, doesn't have to do one type of procedure for the Agriculture Administration and a completely different type of procedure for the Customs Administration or for the Transport Administration. And then standardization will be going towards either a national standard in order to make sure that the information and the processes which are being used and information which is being requested will be consistent throughout the different administrations. But by going towards international standards, we go one step further, which is making sure that this will be aligned with other countries' uses of the information and of the processes. And in so doing, helping traders to compete internationally and use the same information and the same processes in other countries. So within the UNECE and UN CFACT, there's several different pillars of what we're providing. This includes policy recommendations, which are developed within UN CFACT. And the CEO, Mr. Awolawa, had spoken of these this morning, like Recommendation 4 on the National Trade Facilitation Committee, or Recommendation 33 on implementation of single window. There's also standards which are produced, like the UN TDED, United Nations Trade Data Element Directory, defining every single data element within a message or that will be crossing the border. And then there are guidelines and briefs and case studies which are published by the UNECE or UN Next. UN Next is a branch of the UN working in partnership between Asia and the EU in order to show how these things are being implemented within those regions. So UN CFACT, who we are, we're part of the UN underneath the Economic and Social Commission of the UN. Sorry, it doesn't come out very good in the black on dark blue, sorry. We're underneath the European Commission, Economic Commission for Europe, sorry, the UN Economic Commission for Europe. And then there's UN CFACT. It's a public-private partnership with over 200 experts. I think that today the figure is more around 300 experts, but we have a little under 100 which are participating very regularly and very actively. And we meet virtually every week, plus by conference call, sorry, and there are 2 forums per year.
The workshop featured goodwill messages. Now, one of the speakers, the trade advisor and chief trade negotiator, Ambassador Osakwe, praised the leadership of NEPC for initiating reforms that have been positive in moving Nigeria forward.
There are a few points to make in this goodwill message to this national sensitization workshop. There's a big picture and a small picture. The big picture is that this is a moment of abundant opportunities in the Nigerian economy. There are strong reforms for there's strong domestic policy and structural policy reforms underway in the economy for productivity and competitiveness. Every country in the global economy is in competition with other countries in the economy. And this is a fact that we must accept. And this is why Nigeria's ratification of the World Trade Organization Trade Facilitation Agreement is a major contribution to the efforts of President Buhari's government to move this economy forward aggressively and very ambitiously with regard to restoring economic growth. The Federal Executive Council on the 25th of August ratified the WTO Trade Facilitation Agreement. And as the Executive Director had pointed out, Minister Enelama deposited the instrument of acceptance of the Trade Facilitation Agreement with the WTO Director General Roberto Azevedo at the World Economic Forum on Friday, the 20th of January this past month. The news of Nigeria's ratification of the Trade Facilitation Agreement has reverberated across the global economy, and the question is why. It is evidence of the commitment of the government of President Buhari to improve the ease of doing business in the Nigerian economy. When all is said and done, it has to be about increasing productivity. It has to be about increasing efficiency, and it has to be about increasing competitiveness. There are no handouts, not for Nigeria, not for any economy, any other economy in the world. And one of the major objectives of this government is to remove the domestic constraints to doing business in Nigeria. And this is the significance of the Trade Facilitation Agreement. And what would that be? Visas upon arrival, reducing the cost of doing business so that we are able to beat the average, to expedite the clearance of export of goods from our ports and the imports of goods into the Nigerian economy, to have a single window for dealing with the procedures for approvals and certification in the Nigerian economy, so that when you go to one website, you can register, you can have a bank verification number, you can even get a driver's license and have all the approvals you need to get a business on the move. And so these are the things that are happening, but it's beyond words. What are we reaping from it at this particular moment? Several things. In addition to what Shegu, our friend, Mr. Wallower, is doing with regard to actual implementation, I can report to this national sensitization workshop that we have commitments. The government has commitments from the World Economic Forum to assist Nigeria in the implementation of the agreement. Last week, the senior director from the World Bank in Washington was here and met with Minister Enelama and the team to work with Nigeria on several aspects of implementing this agreement. Today, as you will hear reported, the Vice President from the European Commission will be visiting Abuja and meeting with officials at high levels of government, and then will travel to Lagos tomorrow to meet with the business sector. The good news, and there is good news, whatever we may think as Nigerians, there is very good news about the abundance, the energy, and the activity in the Nigerian economy. Now it's up to us to develop that partnership between government on the one hand, because building an economy is not just the business of government. It's a partnership, it's a contract between government on one hand, actual operators, and even the people who are televising us, the media, to disseminate that good news. Building an economy is a partnership. Building an economy is about modernizing an economy, updating an economy, which brings me to the last part of the goodwill message. In a short message, everything cannot be said, but I leave you with this. The Nigerian digital economy, the internet economy, is one of the fastest growing areas of economic activity in the world, in the global economy. This is why Mr. Mark Zuckerberg came to Nigeria. This is why a high-level delegation from Brussels is in Nigeria today and tomorrow, because they have come and they are coming to do what? To talk to our Jumias, talk to our Congas, talk to our Irokos, talk to our Andelas in the digital economy, because it's on the platform of the digital economy that we will be able to achieve a catapult effect to modernize and update this economy and put all our small businesses, the small and medium enterprises, connect them to global value chain. So please help to disseminate the good news about the Nigerian economy. It's not a whitewash. There are challenges. But look at every other economy in the world. It's about seizing your opportunities, overcoming your challenges, and using a language from golf, playing your handicaps.
Also speaking on the occasion, Ambassador Ensua of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said the enchantment of the economy is a key item within the 3 key point agenda of the present administration.
As one of the 3 point agendas of the present administration, the enhancement of the economy is a key item. And in line with this, a presidential enabling business environment committee was set up under the chairmanship of the vice president. The ministry is opportuned to be among those members participating in this assignment, national assignment. And the aim of this, as stated by the earlier speaker, Ambassador Sakwe, is to improve the economic landscape of Nigeria. In so doing, and to facilitate the work of the Presidential Committee, a committee of officers, desk officers from the relevant ministries meets on a weekly basis to ensure that the agenda items identified by the Presidential Committee are fast-tracked. In the process, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is engaged in the issue of enabling ease of access of foreigners to the country, and through our missions, the issuance of visa. It is our aim that in the next couple of weeks, visas into Nigeria will be obtained within 48 hours. And in addition to that, the websites of all the missions of Nigeria abroad are being updated as I speak to ensure that all the relevant information that foreigners need to do business in Nigeria is provided on these websites.
The chairman, United Nations Center for Trade Facilitation and Electronics Business, UNCEFAT, Dr. Lance Thompson, commended Nigeria's commitment to improve ease of doing business through trade facilitation. He noted that on January 20, 2017, the country submitted the Instrument of Acceptance of World Trade Organization's Protocol on Trade Facilitation Agreement, that's a TFA, on the sideline of the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Representatives of the government agencies also contributed to the workshop, which was facilitated by the Nigerian Export Promotion Council. Ben TV, in partnership with the Council, will commence a weekly feature on non-oil potentials and investment opportunities in Nigeria. Keep a date with us.